Hi, it's Anna, back to do some more numerology. Happy early, almost fall. It feels like early fall where I am in Colorado, so depending on where you are. And happy birthday today to Mr. Stephen King, who, as you can see, I'm a bit of a fan of Stephen King. I love his books and movies that were based on books that he wrote. I discovered him when I was pretty young, in early middle school, I want to say, and his stories helped me through a lot of dark times. He has some really positive, you can kind of see Shawshank Redemption over there. That is my favorite movie of all time, and I'm pretty excited to get to see it actually in the theater tomorrow. Hello, kitty. Because it's back for its 25th anniversary, so I never got to see it in the theater, but yeah. And as my cat is pointing out, The Shawshank Redemption is based on a short story in that book, right by her, different seasons, as well as Stand By Me, which is kind of behind it. So most of these do feel like fall stories to me. The Green Mile, though, which is over here, Green Mile is a summer one to me. It has more of a summer vibe to me. So I just really love his depth and his characters. I like that when he has kids in his books, they're often seemingly more wise than the adults that are there, and that I love that. That's so awesome. And yeah, the feeling of his books, the kind of angst sometimes, it was what I needed. And the Shawshank Redemption I view in many ways as a metaphor for my life, and it gave me a lot of hope when I was growing up, and I enjoy watching it now I don't want to give anything away, but I enjoy the ending immensely because it's kind of what I did in my life, which I won't say. I'm not going to give anything away if you haven't seen it. It's a great movie, and not very horror, not very typical Stephen King, but still great. As well as like these Dark Tower, I have all of these Dark Tower books. That's a fantasy series more than anything else, and responsible for my initial love of 19, because 19 is Ka and fate and things like that in those books. So anyway, Stephen King is awesome. Let's do his numerology. Let's see if we can maybe get this cat out of here. Scoot this up a little bit. And adjust it so that we can do some numerology. All right, my love. Oh, there was another cat that just jumped over. I don't know if you saw him. He's a black cat, a little more fitting, but all right, I know, they're so comfortable, huh? Okay. Okay. Let's see, can you see that? All right. At least you get to admire all of these lovely, lovely books and movies that are Stephen King inspired here. I haven't seen the It Part 2 yet. I'm going to. Feels more like an October movie to me, so I will go see it, but this is the original It movie miniseries from the 90s, which if you like the newer ones, you would probably like that as well. So let's start with his name. So his full name is Stephen Edwin King, and he was born today in 1947. So happy 72nd birthday. All right, let's see if I can figure out how to kind of keep everything in frame there while we do this, and you don't have to see too much of my arm and stuff. All right, so, and I know sometimes he goes by Steve too, so we can look at what the numerology of Steve is as well. So let's see, we've got for Stephen, and then here I'm going to do Steve over here. Okay, and then keep going with the rest of his name. Okay, so for Stephen, 15, 25, 33. Hey, it's a master number, 33. For Steve, 17, which is 8. Ooh, cool. So 33 or 6. So these are his keys. And we'll talk about those in a minute. Let's do the rest of his name here. So we've got 28. 23. So total, his whole name, we have 12. 3. 3, expression. And so I'm going to talk about his keys and his expression. So with 33 or 6 as a key, he would be viewing opportunity as a chance to connect in deep, meaningful ways with people. And he's most likely to take opportunities that are going to enhance his responsibility and his ability to take care of his loved ones and people in his life. So, oh, she just really wants to be a star today. All right, so with Steve, 8 is a key of ambition. So that would make him very ambitious to be successful in whatever ways he was wanting to be successful, and most likely to take any opportunities that are going to align with his ability to do that, to be ambitious and to be very successful. So let's look at the vowels for his soul urge. Not many vowels. So we've got 18, 28, 33. Okay, that 33 and 6 for his soul urge. So what I just said about that in his key place, if it's in his soul urge place, then this is what he wants most out of life. He wants to feel like he has a family that he loves and is able to take care of. And he also wants to kind of be living this, I didn't talk about that as much up here, but this enhancement of 3. So an extra dose of joy and happiness in a meaningful way. So let's see what his quiet self is. Okay, so we've got 10, 18, 23, 27, 37, 39, 44, and 51. So also a 6 for his quiet self. Sorry if you can hear those dogs barking in my apartment complex. I think Stephen King actually has a dog, so I'm sure he won't mind if he ever sees this. So tons of 6s, and I know some of you might be thinking like, so we've got 666, kind of a classic horror number there. But as you've been hearing, in numerology, 6 is a lot about love and responsibility and taking care of the people you love. It's a very good family number. We have just a cat over there too who is loving the movies stacked up and books stacked up. Anyway, so this makes him, it's weird to think about, but this makes him like a very loving man. And I think that he probably is, obviously all this horror stuff is just kind of his creative side, but I don't think I talked about his expression actually, which is also a 3, which he has a lot of 3 energy here. So the 3 as an expression is he's expressing himself as being positive and having everything under control in a positive way. Even if he's at a dark time in his life, he's still going to be kind of joking about it and making light of things. And maybe, unfortunately, with a 3 expression, a lot of things that are more negative that turn up in life might be getting buried. And so maybe that's sort of where some of this darkness comes from in his stories and things like that. Let's look at what his life path is. So we've got 9, 3, and 14, 21. So 9, 3, 3. That's going to be 15, which is 6. Oh my goodness. Wow. 6s all over the place. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen so many 6s in one reading. And I don't know what more I can say about 6 than I already have. But with it in this place, this just means his life is about being loving, being responsible for people he loves, and being able to take care of them, being able to be a good father, a good husband, a good, whatever other sort of family relationships he has. I don't actually remember if he has any siblings or anything like that. But I think that the fact that there's so many of these give him a lot of kind of natural, it gives him a lot of natural integrity, because there's this consistent theme throughout everything. His life is about this. This is what he thinks about when he's alone. This is what he wants out of life. And these are the opportunities that he's most likely to take. I mean, this all just fits together perfectly. It's all the same number. And 3 fits with it pretty well too. And I would say 6 is a pretty grounded number. 3 isn't as grounded. It's a little more carefree. But so his expression might seem a little bit lighter than he's actually feeling. Like he cares a lot about this stability and love and things like that. So that's very cool. I don't know, I didn't really have a guess as to what we might run across here, but I wouldn't have guessed that they would be all 6s. Yeah, he is awesome, if we didn't already know. And hopefully that makes those of you feel better who were like, oh no, 666, it's terrible. Well, now there's 4 of them. So you got 4 6s. It's all good. All right. So let's look at the phases of his life. And we'll be able to look at more for him because he is older. So we're first going to look at these 2, this 9 and 3, and he's going to have, because we have a 9 and 2 3s, like some of his pinnacles and sub challenges are going to be the same too. He's going to be dealing with the same sorts of themes. So 9 plus 3 would be 12, which would be 3. And 9 minus 3 is 6. Again. This is interesting. So birth to 36 minus the life path, so birth to 30 for these first ones. And his pinnacle of 3 best experiences are coming from when he's expressing himself fully. And maybe that's why we got such a wonderful author and storyteller, because his best experiences were coming from when he was not afraid to express himself and just be creative and be doing whatever he wanted to be doing that made him happy at the time. His sub-challenge of 6, normally that would be that love and responsibility are challenging things. For him, though, we have 4 extra added layers. So he's having a great time expressing himself, but he is finding his opportunities challenging. He's finding what he wants out of life to be challenging. He's finding what he's thinking about when he's alone challenging. He's finding his path in life to be challenging. Basically, his only outlet was his expression for these first 30 years, and everything else was challenging. So that might also explain why we got, like I said, the darkness that we got from him in a lot of these stories. Everything, he struggled a lot is what I'm getting from that. So let's see what happened after that. His second pinnacle and sub-challenge, we're looking at these second two, so 3 and 3. When you add them, we have 6. When you subtract them, we have 0. This happened last week too with Jenna Marbles. So this was a magical decade for him, I would guess, because everything that was challenging, and literally everything, basically everything was challenging for him, it became where his best experiences were coming from. So all of a sudden, things start to line up way better than they did before. It's not as much about his expression in this phase of his life. It becomes about, is he taking the opportunities that he most wants? He's getting what he wants out of life. He's thinking about what he is comfortable thinking about when he's alone, and he's following his life path. Like, all of these things are where his best experiences start to come from. And I would say everything just lines up. Like, it starts to fall into place in such a beautiful way. And I don't know, I mean, let's see. So he would have been 30 in 77. And I want to say, I know that things like Carrie came out in the 70s, but I don't remember exactly when in the 70s. So I would have to look at that. But maybe this is when his career really started to take off. Everything that he sort of had pent up from these struggling years got turned into just magic. It's beautiful. So that's really cool if that is when he started to become a lot more popular and successful, making a lot of money, doing what he enjoyed doing. It's amazing. All right, so let's see what happens after that. Okay, for the third round, and we've never done a third round before, but for the third round, we are looking at these outer 2. So actually, we're coming back to, because that's the same pair as this pair, right? So we're coming back to a 3 pinnacle and a 6 challenge. And that's going to go from 41 to 50. So these middle 2 go for 9 years. I mean, technically 10, because from when you turn 31 through like your whole 40th year, that's 10 years. But you add 9 when you're figuring them out. So these 2 are the shortest ones. This first one is really long, and the last one is long as well. So we come back to the same one we had to begin with. And so that could mean that when he hits 41, his expression comes back as his reigning, that's where his best experiences are coming from. And these challenges potentially come back. Now, I would say they're not coming back as strong because he already was dealing with them for so long. And usually when you're dealing with tough things in your life, if you've spent a lot of time on it already, you know a lot of the answers. You're not starting from scratch on this. So he's not all of a sudden back to square one and everything is drastically as challenging as it was before. I think that he came into this new era of 6 challenge already knowing a lot, and maybe things did get challenging again with opportunities, what he wanted out of life. Maybe he was reevaluating. I know that, so let's see, and now there's a train. There's just wonderful sounds today in the world. So he would have been 40 in 1987, so 41 would be 88. So maybe after he had had a lot of success in this decade, then he kind of came back and was reevaluating these things again. But I don't think it would have been to such an extent as it was before. Yeah, but like I said, we knew kind of that we were going to see similar things because we've got 2 3s, so making the 9 and 3, 9 and 3 the same pairs. So let's see what we're ending with. There's one more, and that goes from wherever we were and on for the rest of your life. So, and for that one, we are looking at, we're actually looking at, oh my gosh, I did this wrong. Oh, I did this wrong, you guys. We're looking at these last 2 for these last years. 3 and 6 are here. For these 2, oh, it's been so long since I've done this. Okay, for these 2, they're coming from these top ones. So these 2 are actually very different. So I thought about stopping the video, but you know, it's okay. People make mistakes, right? We're gonna fix it. So 3 and 6 make the 3rd pinnacle, which would be 9. And then this is still right for his challenge because it's the difference between the first 2 challenges. So to find the 3rd one, you add the first 2 pinnacles and you subtract the first 2 challenges. So his pinnacle actually wasn't expression in this decade. His pinnacle was 9, which is kind of the first like different number we've seen, except for this 8 here when he goes by Steve. A 9 pinnacle, 9 is a number of like giving back. So it's a number, it's like a humanitarian number. It's a number where your best experiences, when it's in your pinnacle, your best experiences are coming from when you feel like you're being of really good service to other people. So you feel like people are gaining a lot from whatever you have to give. You feel like it's just feels very rewarding to be giving back and to feel like you're contributing. So however, I was right about this still. Like his challenges came back up and look, they're still there because 3 and 6 are the last ones because now we're looking at this outer pair. So this is from 51 on. And it's not to say that these things are always going to be a challenge for him, because I feel like when you have the same one come up kind of over and over again, if you have been able to work through it, if you've been able to figure out definitely what opportunities you vibe the best with, definitely what you want out of life, definitely what you're comfortable thinking about when you're alone, and definitely what you want to do with your life, maybe, you know, I'm not that old, I'm only 30. I don't know if you do get to a place in life where you feel pretty content about all of these things, but the fact that they've kind of come up as a challenge and his attention's been drawn to them a lot throughout his life, I feel like he's probably dealt with a lot of it, and it's showing up still as a challenge. It may no longer be a challenge for him just because he's had the opportunity to kind of deal with it and clear it for so long. We are ending with a 3 pinnacle, so expression, best experiences coming from when he expresses himself fully and is not afraid to do what he wants to do and be who he is. And hopefully that's what he's been doing all along. I think that's something that I love about him, his character, his humor, and I think that's something that a lot of people really enjoy about him. So 9, going back to this 9 for a second, 9 is also a really good parent number. So he has 6 and 9 are the best parent numbers. They're really good for relationships, and maybe when he was having these best experiences coming from giving back, hopefully he also was learning to receive really good things in his life, because that's sort of what 9 is about too, is balancing that giving and receiving. So hopefully he's learned to kind of soak up the rewards from all that he's given all of us. I mean, I know that my life would not be the same without him, and he's a really loving guy is what I see, and he's had a lot of struggle figuring out the best ways to utilize everything that he is. And I think that personally, I feel like he's done a great job because I truly love his work. So hope this helped to maybe get you in the fall mood, and sorry about that mistake at one point. But happy birthday, Stephen King, and to the rest of you, keep following yourselves and following your intuition. And actually, we'll see you tomorrow for a fall equinox pick a card tarot card video. I didn't think that I was going to, I thought maybe I was just going to focus on this and not do tarot cards, but I'm just having so much fun with them right now that I really want to do a pick a card for you. So I'll be back tomorrow, and hope you enjoy this almost fall day.